Hi, I want to talk about my experience as an Indonesian in Iran. So generally, Iran is depicted very negatively in the media, and it doesn't help that the people who did not visit Iran for themselves most of the time give misleading information, such as Iran is dangerous, Iran is not safe, Iran is not developed at all. Well, it might not be as developed as some of the European countries, but it is quite developed for what it is. And the reality is way different unless you see it with your own eyes. Okay, so first let's talk about how the Iranians treat us foreigners. Well, they treat us foreigners very nicely and they are really hospitable. But sometimes they can go overboard with being hospitable. And I've experienced this myself a couple of times. And the reasoning behind it is because of their culture. So here in Iran, they have something very unique to themselves called ta'aruf. And I've never found anything like it in other countries. Even a rough translation is kind of not there because it's very unique to Iranian people, and maybe some other countries have it, but in Iran they take it way serious, way more serious, like it's on a different level. Let me give you some examples. Imagine you are walking in Tehran around noon or night and suddenly someone comes up to you and you start a conversation with them. It's a really pleasant conversation and you enjoy talking to them and they do enjoy talking to you. And it ends at you telling them you want to get some food, you want to find some good place to eat. And they say, بفرمایید منزل، نهار حاضره, or نهار در خدمتتون باشیم. It roughly translates to something like, well, why don't you come to my house and eat with me, or lunch is ready, let's go to my house and eat, or something like that. It can be said in many different phrases and forms. So when that person says this, it is mostly out of paying respect to you, to offering to you, to offer helping you. It might be genuine or it might be out of respect, because here they do it a lot, and by a lot I mean they do it every single day. Like they just go outside, meet someone, meet a friend, relatives, anyone. They just offer them to come to their house, be it a simple meal, be it dinner, be it tea, anything. They just do it. And it's because their culture it is. And when it's to Iranian, one gives an offer, the other usually refuses it because of respect. Yeah, it's like, I give you offer, you have to refuse it. And it doesn't make it easier for us foreigners, because for some of us, accepting the offer means to pay respect, and it's the opposite for Iranians, because they invite you and at that time they might not be really ready to accept a guest, and that's a kind of paradox in itself. And the worst part is knowing when they invite you for something, is it genuine or they are inviting you out of respect. For myself, I'm sometimes confused as well too, so it's kind of normal for foreigners to get confused. Okay, let me give you other examples. So one example that I can think of is getting into public transportation, be it a taxi, be it train, bus, anything. When a seat becomes available, the first person who says, go ahead, have a seat, is the person who is supposed to sit. It's not like you are saying to them, go ahead, take a seat, and you're backing off. No, it's like, go ahead, take a seat, and you have to say, no, thank you, you take a seat. And it's kind of confusing because I've seen a lot of people take it right away, and other people look at them like you made a really big mistake or something like that, because accepting it right away is really rude here. You should not do it. And it doesn't help that For some of us, again, accepting the offer is a way to pay respect. But the most interesting form of ta'aruf, I think, is when you go buy something and the shopkeeper says قابلی نداره or مهمون ما باشی. This is really confusing because it's not like someone is inviting you to somewhere. It says, okay, you don't have to pay. And normally nobody refuses this offer. Why would you? Because free stuff, I don't know. But you must refuse it. And what makes it worse is they usually repeat it multiple times. قابلی نداره، قابلی نداره، من نمیخوام پول بگیرم از شما. Something like that, that roughly translate to, you don't have to pay, you don't have to pay. I will not take money from you. I will not accept it. And I've seen it sometimes. People just walk out of the shop without paying, and people just don't believe it. Like, yeah, I might have said you don't have to pay for it, but why are you not paying for it? It doesn't make sense at all, but this is how it works in Iran. So generally you don't go out of the shop without paying. You just pay it, and you don't pay attention to what the shop owner says. You just pay it. Ta'aruf is really confusing. It is a unique cultural behavior for Iranians. I will make another video about dealing with ta'aruf because it is really confusing even for me, who have lived here for quite some time. Iran is a beautiful country in itself. Maybe not a paradise, but it is worth visiting at least once. So until next time, Khuda Hafiz.